Raising chickens can be a hobby, sure. But what if you treated it like a strategic game? That's what we're doing today. We've taken a really comprehensive guide and boiled it down into a powerful playbook. So whether you're a farmer or you're just a little curious, these are the core moves for turning a simple flock into a seriously successful operation. Right off the bat, you need to understand this isn't just about eggs and meat, not even close. This single quote right here, it tells you a much deeper story. In places like Uganda, poultry is, well, it's woven right into the fabric of society. It's a symbol of wealth. It's a huge part of celebrations. It's a cornerstone of the community. So the stakes, as you're about to see, are way higher than you might think. So, here's our game plan, our 5-part playbook. We're going to start with the big why this all matters so much. Then we get practical and build the perfect foundation, the coop. After that, we hit a massive strategic choice. Are you going with exotic breeds or local ones? From there, it's all about the day-to-day management, and we're going to finish with some traditional techniques that are, frankly, nothing short of genius. Okay, let's kick things off with play number 1, why poultry matters. To really get the strategy here, we have to appreciate that this is about so much more than just putting a meal on the table. I mean, just think about all the different hats that poultry wears. Of course, it's a vital source of high-quality protein, which is huge for food security. But the economic side of things is just as critical. For a farmer, chickens are a brilliant way to diversify your income. Let's say crop prices totally crash. A healthy flock gives you a stable financial buffer. It's a safety net that can even grow into a real source of export revenue. But it's not all smooth sailing, right? The guide is super clear about the major hurdles you're going to face. Disease can literally wipe out your entire flock overnight. Rising feed costs can just eat up all your profits. And, just getting started requires money that a lot of people just don't have. These are the big challenges our playbook is designed to help you beat. Okay, on to our second play, which flows right from the first one. Building the perfect home. Now, don't you dare mistake this for a minor detail. This right here is the absolute foundation of your success. So what does that foundation look like? Think of it in 2 parts, defense and health. First, you're building a fortress. It's got to be rainproof, secure from wind, and this is critical, rat-proof. Then on the inside, it's all about hygiene. You need good ventilation, smooth walls so pests like mites have nowhere to hide. A cemented floor makes cleaning a total breeze. And you always do this. You have to separate the little vulnerable chicks from the older birds. Get this stuff right, and you've already dodged dozens of problems down the road. All right, now we've come to a really pivotal moment in our playbook. Play number 3 is all about choosing your team. Are you going with the high-tech exotic breeds or the tried-and-true local chickens? This is a major strategic decision. So let's break down the case for going with local chickens. The upsides are all about resilience. They're self-sustaining, they're tough, they're low maintenance, and they're even resistant to some diseases. And here's a really interesting little market insight for you. Their eggs and meat often sell for a higher price. But the downsides are pretty straightforward. They just grow slower and produce less. It's that classic trade-off, isn't it? And this slide just lays it all out so perfectly. On one side, you've got the exotic breeds. They're like these high-performance machines optimized for high yield, but they're fragile and need a ton of management. On the other side, you've got the local breeds, incredibly resilient, super self-sufficient, but with a lower output. So the big question you have to ask yourself is, what's your goal? Is it maximum production, even with higher risk? Or is it steady, stable production with a lot less effort? Okay, so once you've made that big choice, it's time for play number 4, the day-to-day management of your flock. This is where your strategy meets the real world. If you go with exotic layers, the feeding schedule is a super simple, logical progression. You start them off with chick mash, which is designed for that rapid growth in the first 8 weeks. Then you slowly transition them to grower's mash to help them develop. And the very moment you see that first egg, that's your signal. You switch to layers mash, which has all the specific stuff they need for sustained egg production. Simple as that. And check this out. Here's some fantastic insider knowledge from the guide on how to spot your most valuable players, your MVPs. You're looking for signs of really great health, a bright red comb, super alert eyes. But here's the real pro tip. Check the width between their pelvic bones. If you can fit at least 2 fingers in there, that's an awesome sign of a productive layer. It's a really practical, hands-on way to see who's pulling their weight in the flock. And now for our final and I gotta say, maybe the most fascinating section of all. Play number 5, the art of local rearing. This is where we uncover the absolute genius of traditional farming wisdom. Just look at this. This isn't just a list. This is generations of knowledge, all summed up. Farmers know exactly which local plants are good for chickens, like pawpaw leaves, and which ones are literally deadly. And isn't it fascinating that stuff we might think is totally harmless, like fresh cassava or sweet potato leaves, are actually poisonous to chickens? This is precision farming, powered by centuries of observation, not by fancy technology. Now, all of that leads us to this technique that sounds, well, it sounds almost like magic. How could you possibly get more than a dozen different hens to coordinate and hatch all their eggs in perfect unison? I mean, it seems impossible, right? But it's a real strategy. And here is the absolutely genius 4-step method. First, you trick the hens with a single boiled dummy egg to get them to sit. Then, as they lay their fresh eggs, you collect them, date them, and store them somewhere cool. You give it about 10 days until enough hens get broody and start sitting on those fake eggs. And then, here's the master stroke. You give all of those sitting hens a full clutch of the freshest, real eggs, all at the exact same time. 21 days later, they all hatch together. It's incredible. So what's the payoff for this incredible technique? What's the bottom line? This number, 825. A single farmer with just 14 hens can hatch up to 825 chicks in one single year. This completely transforms a small-time operation into a predictable, highly productive business. It is a total game changer, powered entirely by a deep, deep understanding of animal behavior. And so we end with this question. What this poultry playbook really shows us is that innovation isn't always about brand new technology. Sometimes the most powerful solutions are rooted in this deep traditional wisdom. It just leaves you wondering, what other incredibly effective, sustainable techniques are out there just waiting for us to rediscover them?